The mainstream network media ignored the latest video released on Planned Parenthood's practice of harvesting the body parts of aborted babies. The latest one detailing how one technician told another worker, "Want to see something cool?" referring to a baby's heart beating while harvesting its brain.
Hey Ollie, come over here. I want you to see something kind of cool. It's kind of neat. So I'm over here, and this is the moment I see it, I'm just flabbergasted. This is the most gestated fetus and closest thing to a baby I've seen. And she's like, okay, I want to show you something. So she has one of her instruments and she just taps the heart and it starts beating. And I'm sitting here and I'm looking at this fetus and its heart is beating. And I don't know what to think.
Disturbing video, yet not reported on major national news outlets. Brent Bozell, president of Media Research Center, joins us to discuss the lack of coverage of these videos and how Planned Parenthood actually awarded 16 news agencies the Maggie Award for Media Excellence. Brent, first of all, tell us about these awards. I'm sure most of those who receive them are among the media outlets doing very little with these Planned Parenthood video stories.
Well, it's one of those horrific stories that you just say it can't get worse than it is. But every day you learn something that's even worse. And the most recent one being these awards. These are the Maggie Awards for Media Excellence, Maggie being Margaret Sanger. Margaret Sanger being the founder of Planned Parenthood, a woman who was in favor of eugenics, a woman who was in favor of eradicating the black race, a woman who spoke at KKK rallies, a woman who made no bones about her racism. In her honor, they are giving awards. Planned Parenthood is giving awards to people in journalism, from everything from Elle magazine to MSNBC to Esquire. They're all getting awards in her honor. One of the things that is striking is that her goal was to eradicate the black race. When you see that 25% of the black population has been erased since 1973. When you see that close to 80% of all abortion clinics are in the inner cities to go after black and Latino women, her goals are being realized, and journalists are accepting awards for that.
Amazing. Brent, do these organizations know about Sanger's agenda?
Oh, yes, they do. They can't pretend they don't. They can't say, oh my gosh, I had no idea. Of course they do. This is who she was. And she made no bones about it. It's not as if it's a deep, dark secret that Brent Bozell uncovered. This is her writings. This is her life's works. She was very, very public about it. This is why she did it. So they know that. Are they choosing to ignore it, or are they accepting it and supporting it? Well, that's a question they have to answer. But the fact of the matter remains that they are, enough of this Ferguson business, enough of Trayvon Martin. It's time to ask a question. When you're a journalist accepting awards named after a hideous racist whose organization is mutilating millions of unborn babies, amazing. What kind of man or woman are you?
Indeed. Brent, how is this a double standard in today's culture?
Do you think any one of those news organizations would ever accept an award from, say, Pat Robertson or the CBN Awards? They would say that's controversial. Would they accept an award from the Family Research Council? That would be considered controversial and off bounds. But Planned Parenthood, butchers who have killed millions of babies, that's okay. There's your double standard.
Indeed. What about the coverage of these videos? Why do you think the mainstream media continues to ignore them? They think they will cover any future videos released in the future, perhaps, maybe?
The videos are absolutely damning to their cause. It shows beyond a shadow of doubt the evil, not the vile, not the horrific, the evil nature of what is going on inside of Planned Parenthood, where they are taking and aborting babies for their body parts, and curiously even tapping beating hearts before talking about how they cut with scissors through their faces to get to the brains. This is beyond evil. Now, anybody who watches those videos is going to be horrified by the reality of Planned Parenthood. is cause and effect. They're not running those stories. They're not showing it because they know the impact that they will have. And here's some numbers. If you look since July 14th through August 23rd, in an entire month, there have been 243 minutes and 30 seconds on the networks, on the newscasts. The total amount of time where they show these videos, 1 minute and 16 seconds. 1 minute CBS, 16 seconds NBC, 0 ABC. Wow. But this is where it really gets interesting. How much time have they aired the controversial video segments? 0, 0, 0. That clip you just played will never see the light of day on network news. How can that not be news?
Are they not showing these videos perhaps because they are in agreement with abortion and with that issue?
Every poll has shown that going back to 1981, overwhelmingly the media are pro-abortion. Overwhelmingly they're pro-abortion. And by the way, not pro-choice, pro-abortion. Planned Parenthood is not a choice operation. It's an abortion mill. It is where they perform abortions. You don't go in there where Planned Parenthood sits down and says, well, here are the two options. Let's discuss the two options freely and openly and fairly and objectively. They don't do that. They're abortion providers. So if you support Planned Parenthood, you are supporting abortion. Yes, they are pro-abortion.
Indeed. Well, are instances like this diminishing the influence of these major media outlets? What should viewers do to take action?
Well, I think they have to realize that these quote-unquote news networks aren't reporting news anymore. They're reporting a narrative that advances the left. And if in any way it diminishes the left, in any way it harms the left, they simply will not report news. And it's not this, it's Benghazi, it's the IRS, it's the Hillary email scandals. They just gloss them over. They just pretend they don't exist. So if the public doesn't know that it's not happening, how can the public be upset? That's their thinking, which is why the public has to go to alternative sources. They have to recognize that ABC is not going to report on Planned Parenthood. They're not going to tell the truth. They need to understand NBC would rather lie and call itself a news operation when it's nothing of the sort than tell the truth about Planned Parenthood. CBS would like to just pretend it never happened and tell the American people, no, I had no idea it was going to happen. But look at this thing about George Bush in 1971 when he was in the National Guard. These are the games they're playing.
Brent Bozell, thank you so much for your time today. We really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.